more than 70% of teens and their parents say they get along pretty well. So what about the other 30%, or the mums and dads who feel they're just not getting on with their kids? We'll have some tips for parents and teens later on. First though, I'm joined in the studio by 14-year-old Amanda. Amanda, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So you think you fit into the 70% of teens that get along well with their parents, or?
Oh, half and half.
Where do you see the problem areas with your relationship with your teenage daughters? Because you've actually got 2 daughters.
Yes, I have, and probably the problem was more marked with my older daughter, but I'm seeing it again now with Amanda, is the lack of communication, that teenagers just want their own space. They think they know everything. They're just so tuned into what they're doing, and it's like the rest of the universe doesn't exist for them.
Sometimes I just want to vent to Mum, like if I have a problem or I just want to have a bitch or something, I'll want to vent to her, but then because of the way Mum is, she'll always try to give me advice. She'll always try to be like, well, this is why this is happening and all that stuff, but sometimes I just don't want her to do that and I get really angry.
So you don't want advice from Mum?
If I want advice though, like I'll ask her, but sometimes I just want to like say how I'm feeling and all that. I don't want solutions and stuff.
Anybody going to let me know if they're in for dinner tonight, or am I just not going to cook anything?
You're just going to cook something, and if we don't eat it, then you have to.
Then I'm going to get annoyed.
Yeah.
So you know at some stage, presumably.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe, because I might be going out, but I don't know, because Kate has to call me, and then Ash has to call me.
Amanda, you're not going anywhere until this is tidy. No, you're not going anywhere till this is done.
Where Amanda is in her development at the moment is that she's really figuring out who she is, and sometimes it's not that she doesn't want to talk to you, sometimes she actually doesn't quite know what she's thinking or feeling. Is that how you find it sometimes?
Sometimes, yeah.
So when Mum says, what's going on, you're thinking, I really don't know.
I don't know, it's just like crazy in your head.
Yeah, it's just like crazy in your head, and your response is you wouldn't understand. Is that how it goes for you? Yeah. And I think kids often do that when they're actually saying, I don't understand, so I can't tell you.
I don't know where they are though.
Did you bring them home last night?
I might have.
That's all right.
I don't know where I left them though.
How would you know where anything is, honestly?
Rummage. I will admit that I am lazy. That's just the way I am. It's not the way they brought me up, but it's just me.
When Amanda's not pulling her weight in terms of chores and things like that, what do you normally do?
Normally I ask, and then I ask again, and then I yell.
Yeah.
I just wanted 5 minutes peace, and I walk in and there's a house full of you.
You could have at least pretended to be nice and just gone into your bathroom and said, Amanda, I need my
Well, I'm not
bathroom
an actress
right now.
like you are, am I?
Yeah. Yes, you are.
It's when the yelling starts that the problem occurs. And how do you respond to that, Amanda?
Well, if I'm on the computer, I just ignore it. Sometimes I just use excuses.
Would you do it for me now before you go out?
Only have like half an hour though.
What about your friends? Do you find in general most of your friends talk to their parents about drugs and maybe sex and things like that? Or?
Not really. Like a few friends do talk to their parents about it, but some friends like can't talk to their parents about sex and drugs or anything. They can't tell them that they drink or any of that stuff, so it makes it pretty hard for them.
So Trish, give us a bit of a summary. What can parents do to help get along with their teenagers a little bit better?
I think the key points are probably listen more than you speak, and your kids will tell you more. Respect each other and think through before you say what you want to say. Think what you want to say and how you want to say it in a respectful way. Spend quality time with your kids. Put together some family rituals that you can do on a regular basis and know what their interests are. Understand their music, what they're reading, who their friends are. I think if you do those things and the things that Jackie said, have faith in your kids and just love them unconditionally and let them know that no matter what they do, you will always love them even though you might not always agree with them.
And what about teenagers? Can they take some of that responsibility to make their relationships better as well?
Absolutely. Teenagers just need to remember that mum and dad's concern is just for them. They're fearful about their teenagers' survival and they're just trying to keep you safe. So remember to have a think about the other side of the story. Look at mum and dad's perspective too sometimes and just see if you can help make it make sense for you and see where mum and dad are coming from. And always remember respect is really a key in any relationship.
Next week on the show, we'll have a family dealing with divorce. There's also a new relationship in the mix. We'll find out how they're going at integrating those families and what the whole family can do to make the transition a little easier. We'll see you then. Welcome to Fresh Focus. I'm Hayley and today we'll be talking about communicating with teenagers. Now, it does seem like the impossible, or at least I thought so, but more than 70% of teens and their parents say they get along pretty well. So what about the other 30%, or the mums and dads who feel they're just not getting on with their kids? We'll have some tips for parents and teens later on. First though, I'm joined in the studio by 14-year-old Amanda. Amanda, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now you're in here because obviously you're 14 years old, you're a teenager, you're getting along with your mum at the moment, do you find?
Yeah.
Yes?
Me and Mum get along really well.
Yeah, and what about Dad?
Me and Dad have never really had that good of a relationship.
Yeah, and why do you think that is?
I don't know, I guess I've just always been closer to Mum, and because stuff's been like a bit weird between them two, I guess he's kind of thought that I've taken sides, or, you know.
Yeah. And they've just separated, haven't they?
Yeah, in February they separated.
Yeah. So you think you fit into the 70% of teens that get along well with their parents, or?
Oh, half and half.
Rightio. Well, for the sake of the other half, let's talk about some of the things that you might not agree with.
Okay.
I mean, obviously you're a teenager, and teenagers generally, well, I don't know, I didn't really love my mum that much when I was younger. What are the sorts of things that annoy you about her or about your parents
About
in
my
general?
parents?
Yeah.
Well, I probably have to use my dad as an example because he gets on my nerves the most. So I'd have to say, like, when he always asks me like so many questions about everything, or he just keeps asking me the same thing over and over again, like, what are you doing this weekend? Like, ask me every day of the week, and just drives me insane. Or sometimes if he's just around too much, like, because with a lot of teenagers we all need our own space.
Sure.
And sometimes he just doesn't get that.
You feel like you're kind of not being given your freedom or
Yeah,
independence.
like he's just
Sure.
there, and I just want some me time kind of thing. So
Okay, and what about your mum at home? Because you live with your mum and your older sister.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well, I live with my dad. I used to live with my dad like a lot more than my mum when they first separated, because her house wasn't like very big to live in and all that. So I used to live with him a lot, but then he kind of told Mum to take us for a bit. So now I'm only going there like 2 or 3 days a week to Dad's.
Sure.
So yeah.
So do you have your own room and?
Yeah.
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 So you get a bit of privacy in that. In
Yeah.
That regard.
And like Mum knows about like all my space and everything. So.
And what about going out? Like, what do you and your mates do on a weekend in general? Because you said your dad was asking 20,000 questions about what you're up to.
Well, Mum still like cares about what I'm doing and everything, but they just still let me go out with my friends like Friday nights, Saturday nights, whatever.
And do you have a curfew?
No, because usually I just stay somewhere or something. So ever since they split up, they've been a lot more lenient with me, let me do a lot more things. So
you feel like you can just come home after a party or the next day and you could talk to your parents pretty openly about what went on and
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And what about your friends? Do you find in general most of your friends talk to their parents about drugs and maybe sex and things like that?
Not really. Like a few friends do talk to their parents about it, but some friends like can't talk to their parents about sex and drugs or anything. They can't tell them that they drink or any of that stuff, so it makes it pretty hard for them.
Okay. Yeah. And you've got that open relationship, I guess, with your mum that you were talking about. So when it comes to boys and all that kind of thing, like the embarrassing birds and bee talk, she's quite happy to talk to you.
Yeah.
So when did you get that birds and bees talk?
I don't think I got the actual like official talk, but I don't know, I kind of just learned over the years, especially from being the youngest sister. I just sort of picked up on everything from Danielle or my parents and like movies and just stuff like that.
So that's good. Like it means that you're getting along quite well and you feel quite happy to talk about everything. Is there anything though that you wouldn't go to your mum and talk to her about? Are there any problems maybe in your life at the moment that you just don't want to talk to mum about it, rather talk to maybe a friend or an auntie or something like that?
Well, some things, like with everyone, there's always going to be something you just think, no, they don't understand. Like, if sometimes I just want to vent to mum, like if I have a problem or I just want to have a bitch or something, I'll want to vent to her, but then because of the way mum is, she'll always try to give me advice. She'll always try to be like, well, this is why this is happening and all that stuff. But sometimes I just don't want her to do that and I get really angry.
So you don't want advice from mum?
If I want advice though, like I'll ask her, but sometimes I just want to like say how I'm feeling and all that. I don't want solutions and stuff.
Sure.
Because it's just the way I'm feeling.
And is that when you guys fight the most, do you think? Or
I'd say so. We don't fight that much really, unless it's over like silly things like me never doing anything or being lazy or not getting off the computer.
So what was the last fight that you guys had together?
Me and mum or me and dad? What was the last fight we had? Probably over not doing something, like not feeding the dogs or not putting something away.
Just
or
a
something.
little thing.
Just a little, yeah.
Sure. Now, do you have any friends at school that you think have really good relationships with their mums and dads?
Not that I can think of actually. Like half the people I'm friends with, their parents aren't even together either. A lot of girls just live with their mum and don't really see their dad at all. I have a lot of friends that haven't met their dad or haven't seen them since they were young. So, no, not really.
Rightio, we'll see what Amanda's mum has to say after the break. Welcome back, I'm Hayley and today we're talking about improving teen-parent relationships. Now, according to the research, if you get along with your teenage son or daughter, they're more likely to be happy, content and confident. We've heard from teenager Amanda and what she thinks of her relationship with mum and dad. It hasn't all been good. So now it's time to talk to Amanda's mother. Welcome to the show, Jackie.
Thank you.
First of all, you were listening backstage to Amanda, your 14-year-old daughter. Were you surprised by any of the things that she was saying?
No, not really. Yeah, she was saying it as it is, I think.
Okay, and do you agree with most of the things that she was talking about, or?
It was really interesting to hear that she does actually know where she can improve, what she can do to actually make things maybe a little bit easier for her dad and for me. Whether we put it into practice or not is another thing.
Where do you see the problem areas with your relationship with your teenage daughters? Because you've actually got two daughters.
Yes, I have, and probably the problem was more marked with my older daughter, but I'm seeing it again now with Amanda, is the lack of communication, that teenagers just want their own space. They think they know everything. They're just so tuned into what they're doing, and it's like the rest of the universe doesn't exist for them, especially when Amanda's on the computer or if she's doing something or wants to shut herself away. It's like the communication just isn't there, and you try to get them to talk about what's happening in their lives, and there's just, you know, they just don't want to share. They just want to, like, you know, you wouldn't understand. That's the stock answer, I think.
Okay, so do you think your relationship's generally pretty good?
Yeah, fantastic. When I see other kids around and I hear what Amanda tells me about her friends, I know that we have a really awesome relationship, and I'm really, really happy about that. But obviously I'm really concerned about her relationship with her father.
Sure. Where do you see the problem areas there?
He's very angry. I only left in February, so he's very angry and he's hurting, and I think she actually hit the nail on the head that he sees me in her, and so that's where he's sort of taking out his anger, if you like, to an extent, which is not really fair for Amanda, but Amanda won't stand back and take it. She's a fighter, so they just clash.
Sure.
They completely clash, and she and I can clash at times as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the separation has contributed to the breakdown of communication, or do you think you're still going pretty well with that?
As far as I'm concerned, the communication I feel is really good with my girls, to the extent that teenagers in general are poor at communicating. especially to their parents, and I think teachers would probably agree with that as well. What I noticed Amanda kept talking about was that she has more freedom, she has more space because we're separate now, and I think that was an intentional thing on my part, that I can't interfere in what my ex-husband is doing, and so I have to take a back seat, much as that's really difficult sometimes because I don't feel that the right thing's happening. So I'm just, when she's with me, it's sort of my rules, and we're trying to keep the same rules, but because also there's a difficulty with communication with him, that's difficult too.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you think in general that teenagers are poor communicators, but are you willing to concede as well that perhaps they have their own language and that you have to try and learn that language as well, like take a bit of responsibility there?
Absolutely. Yeah, when Amanda talked about when she just wants to vent, I'm a fixer and I like to help fix because I don't like to see her hurting, but I've really taken that on board this morning when I heard her talking about it. You know, stay out of the way. All I want to do is talk about it. I don't want a solution. Yeah.
That's it. I guess they're just about to go out into the real world now, so those are the things that they're going to be needing out in that world, so they're going to have to figure all those things out for themselves.
That's right, yeah.
Yes.
But parents are always trying to get in there and fix it.
That's it, yeah. So what is the biggest problem, what do you find is the biggest problem at home? What's the fight that you continuously have?
She hit the nail on the head. She's lazy. She's just in her own. She's in her own world. They had a program at school, and she went to a princess party, and they treated them like movie stars, and they had everything they wanted, and they had pretend champagne and the works, and it was all really beautiful. But that's Amanda in real life. She's a princess, and she wants everybody to wait on her and look after her, and she doesn't want to get her hands dirty or, you know, help out around the place. So that's probably the biggest bone of contention, and the lack of communication. Like, where are you? You need to let me know. Even though I'm letting you out, I'm letting you have freedom, I need to know where you are. I need to know that I can communicate with you. You
and your daughter, you seem to have a pretty good relationship. Do you have any tips that you can think of that you would give to another parent that possibly has a 12 or 13-year-old child and maybe they're struggling? What's been the biggest thing for you?
Well, what I say to Amanda is, no matter what you do, no matter what happens, no matter what goes wrong, I love you. No matter how badly behaved you are, I love you, and you need to know that whatever is going on, you can always come to me. And I think they need a rock. And as much as they don't want it to be mum or dad because they don't believe that they need it, in the back of their mind, they've always got that locked in. I probably give my girls a bit more freedom than a lot of parents would choose to do, but I keep an eye on it too. So I guess trust, love, and helping them to believe in themselves so that they're not doing the wrong thing and needing to get into the drug spiral and, you know, all that sort of stuff. She's going to try alcohol because she's going to try everything, but I don't. You know, I believe that she's going to make the right choices ultimately. Yeah. And do you think, as far as parenting goes, is there anything you feel like you can improve on or that you look out for in yourself? Oh, heaps. Where do I start? I guess the biggest improvement is, like Amanda's saying, back off. Give me a bit more space, allow me to vent, that sort of thing. So to be more tolerant in that way and to understand the language, as it were. I'm not sure where else. I'm open to any ideas and suggestions because that lack of communication probably is the biggest thing for me, where I feel shut out of her life. And that's when you worry about, well, I wonder what's going on that she can't talk to me about it. Okay, well, our resident psychologist Trish Purnell-Webb is waiting backstage. Trish has some helpful hints for parents just like Jackie, trying to get along a little better with their teenage kids. She'll join us after the break. Welcome back to Fresh Focus. I'm Hayley, and today we're talking about communicating effectively with teenagers. We've talked to Gold Coast teen Amanda. We've also spoken to Amanda's mum, Jackie. Now I'm joined in the studio by brilliant registered psychologist Trish Purnell-Webb. Trish is a mum and a grandmum, and she's worked with teenagers for more than 20 years. So Trish,
We've heard about the problems, now talk to us about the solutions.
Yeah, well, first let me just say to Jackie and Amanda, congratulations. You seem to have a fantastic relationship. And I know it's not easy coming to something like this and talking about problems, airing them in public, but you've done a great job. And what was interesting to me was that you did raise some very common issues that families often encounter, even in good relationships. There's always times when you fight, and you both alluded to that. I think one of the key things, Amanda, that you talked about was this: sometimes you just need your space, and I think that we forget sometimes that our adolescents are not children anymore when we had to keep a constant eye on them, that in fact they are developing young people and they do need that space. And the other interesting thing was that you were really aware that sometimes you just want to vent to mum and you don't necessarily want her to give you solutions. And I know that mum really heard that this time, so that's a fantastic thing for mum to learn, that sometimes more listening and less talking is required. And often if we just listen a bit longer, our kids will actually tell us more. Where Amanda is in her development at the moment is that she's really figuring out who she is, and sometimes it's not that she doesn't want to talk to you, sometimes she actually doesn't quite know what she's thinking or feeling. Is that how you find it sometimes?
Sometimes, yeah.
So when mum says, what's going on, you're thinking, I really don't know.
I don't know, it's just like crazy in your head.
Yeah, it's just like crazy in your head, and your response is you wouldn't understand. Is that how it goes for you? Yeah. And I think kids often do that when they're actually saying, I don't understand, so I can't tell you. So I think that's a key thing to remember. One of the other key points you made, Jackie, was that you thought that Amanda was sometimes lazy. I think sometimes as parents we have to remember that it's kind of unrealistic to think that our kids are going to think that feeding the dog is their number one priority at this age. It's certainly not. At this age, kids are in that what we call egocentric stage. So they really, ultimately, they do believe that the world revolves around them, and that's a developmental space that they're in. She is starting to develop some empathy, and we could see that in the way that she spoke about you and her relationship with her father, and that will come along. But we've got to remember that she's got a good 10 years of cognitive and emotional development to come yet, so she's doing very well when Amanda's not pulling her weight in terms of chores and things like that. What do you normally do?
Normally I ask, and then I ask again, and then I yell.
Yeah, yeah, and it's when the yelling starts that the problem occurs. And how do you respond to that, Amanda?
Well, if I'm on the computer, I just ignore it. But other times, I don't know, sometimes I just use excuses, but other times I'll just back down and go and do it.
Back down and do it.
Yeah.
What do you think would be a better way for mum to approach you?
Maybe to just ask me, like, not bring the yelling into it. Like, ask me once, and if she has to ask again, then actually come, like, approach me, because sometimes she'll just yell from the other end of the house, can you do this, or can you feed the dog, or something like that. And especially if I am on the computer, I won't be listening to anyone else, because when I'm on the computer I'm just in my own little zone. But if she actually comes to me and says, can you please go and do this, maybe that'll help.
So you're asking her to perhaps make a request rather than give you an order? Yeah. And that's really important. The relationship is still a hierarchical relationship. Mum is still the adult and you're still the child. And yet our children are growing up all the time and having to learn the skills of being an adult. So, you know, I don't know about you, Jackie, but I hated when people order me around. So our kids are the same. So I'm wondering what you think about that now.
As a parent, you do something and then you go, I can't believe that I did that or said that or acted in that way. So I'm aware of it, absolutely,
Yeah. And sometimes it's really good to put a time frame around it. So it'd be like, Amanda, it's 5 o'clock now, can you feed the dog before 6:30? Okay. So she doesn't have to get up straight away, but she knows, okay, I've got to do that in the next hour and a half. Mm-hmm. Or, Amanda, can your room be clean by the end of Sunday? I think some of the things I really loved that you said, Jackie, was that you have faith in your daughter. You have faith that she'll make the right decision. And I think that that's a really key point for adolescents, is that sometimes parents don't have enough faith in their children and they become a little bit fearful about what the kids are going to get up to, and that's when they become a bit too limiting in the way that what they allow the children to do. And I heard that Jackie said that she probably lets Amanda do a little bit more than perhaps some other parents would do, and that's reasonable. It's certainly an individual choice. We have to walk that fine line between letting our kids do what they think they want to do and keeping them safe, of course. But sometimes I think Amanda needs to understand that sometimes when mum wants to know where you're going and who you're going to be with, it's not that she doesn't trust you, it's just that she has fears about your safety, and she's actually trying to look after her own fear. That's what parents ultimately do, is look after their own fears that they have for their children. One of the other key things that you had to say, Amanda, was that you felt like you didn't have as many family days and that you really enjoyed those. And I think that's something that families often forget to do with their teenagers, is spend some quality time together, make special trips, have some rituals that you might get into. And I was interested in some of the things you were saying about your dad, and I think that if I was able to say one thing to him, it would be take your daughter out for a coffee or a milkshake and to start doing that as a regular thing, so that you've just got some nice casual downtime just to sit and be together, because it's not necessarily about the talking, is it? It's just being together.
Yeah.
So Trish, give us a bit of a summary. What can parents do to help get along with their teenagers a little bit better? All parents.
I think the key points are probably listen more than you speak, and your kids will tell you more. Respect each other and think through before you say what you want to say. Think what you want to say and how you want to say it in a respectful way. Spend quality time with your kids. Put together some family rituals that you can do on a regular basis, and know what their interests are. Understand their music, what they're reading, who their friends are. I think if you do those things, and the things that Jackie said, have faith in your kids and just love them unconditionally, and let them know that no matter what they do, you will always love them, even though you might not always agree with them.
And what about teenagers? Can they take some of that responsibility to make their relationships better as well?
Absolutely. Teenagers just need to remember that mum and dad's concern is just for them. They're fearful about their teenagers' survival, and they're just trying to keep you safe.
Good parent-teen relationships mean a better start in life for young adults. Teens who get along with mum and dad are better at school, more social and independent. Research also suggests kids who consider their relationships with their folks to be poor are less happy and feel bored more often. So, any tips to make those bonds at home stronger will go a long way. We've got a website that can help. And that's all we've got time for this week. Thank you so much to our family for sharing, and of course our resident psychologist Trish. Next week on the show we'll have a family dealing with divorce. There's also a new relationship in the mix. We'll find out how they're going at integrating those families and what the whole family can do to make the transition a little easier. We'll see you then.